There are three things that I think is very important to practice the art of sketching. Three simple things. In fact, I'm going to introduce it to you today. It's not something new, it's been on my channel, but I'm going to simplify it to three things. Let's go! Okay, the first one is values. Clearly, values are very important. The tonality, dark and light, and everything in between. The lightest light you can create probably is the paper white, unless you bring a very opaque color you can slap on your paper and then you can make whiter than the white paper that you have. Otherwise, you have the white all the way to the darkest you can make. Okay, I'm going to play you one of my old video. You don't have to pause and go click it. I'm just going to replay it here for you. This is a video from 2 years ago. It's about value. Here we're going to do a value sketch of a very simple photo. If you look at a black and white photo, value sketch is an understanding of black and highlights. So when we start sketching, we're not looking at the lines itself, but more importantly is actually the block shapes of what makes darks, what make mid value, and what makes highlights. So if you observed, you can see very clearly where the darks are. It's one of the tricks that you can do. You take a color photographs and then you translate that into a black and white photo. On iPhone there is a setting called Noir. I'm sure it's the same setting in most other phones as well. You can just translate it and you can see very clearly where the darks, where the mids, and where the lights, highlights are. And then of course it's a matter of skills to be able to put it down accurately. That's just practice. No magic there. There's no skills that you're born with that you need. You can always learn and pick up these skills. It's not very difficult. So as you can see, the label is white, and then most of the parts of the balls is either dark, or close to darkest dark. So all you do is just take your pencil and try to mimic the same scale colors. So that's pretty much it. Very simple 2-3 minute sketch, or maybe a bit longer if you prefer to enjoy it. So yeah, I hope you enjoy that. Thanks. So that's the first thing you practice, values, dark and light and mid-tones. The second one is to learn to see the world in negative shapes. Like the shape of the heart here is made out of what is not. The fingers are making what it is, but actually what you see is actually a space. The space is what creates the shape of the heart. Now it's very important to learn to see the world as such. Don't just look at the leaf, but look what's behind the leaf. Don't just look at the figures, but look at what is behind the figures. Those are negative shapes that may shape the way you sketch, and learn to see this unnatural shape, if you like, the little shape between leaves and the shape in between the hand and the head, for example, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's show you a quick example from my old video as well. We'll be looking at the negative shapes of the bananas. If you look at the black and white photo, you'll see very clearly where the blacks and whites are. In this very simple sketch, as you can see, what I'm trying to do is just to capture the darkened shape of the top and in the shadow, as well as the shadow at the bottom, and tiny bits of shadows in between the bananas. I try to capture it boldly and just to try to understand the shape, and of course the background is dark, so I darken it as much as I can with my pencil. You will struggle with the HB, but with a 2B or 4B, that's usually not a problem at all. So as you can see, I'm not trying to be exact. In fact, I made some mistakes, but it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, it's just a very quick sketch using negative shapes. That's the easy way of observing the world. Negative shapes. Hope you like it. So we have learned to see the world through the lens of values, in other words, tonality. That's number one. Number two, we have learned to see the world through negative shapes, what is not. Instead of the object, we look at what is not or surrounding the object. Number three, now we need to learn to see shadows. And this is, the world is full of it, right? I mean, especially in Singapore here, we see very bright shadows, very, very clear shadows on the ground or even around us. And that is an exercise where we will improve our sketch, because shadow brings us the ability for us to sketch 3-dimension. To make 3-dimension shadows and form is what gives it such, especially on a piece of paper. We're going to look at sketching shadows. So if you look at the black and white picture photo of this fruit, we will see the shadow. We'll start off by observing the leaves, the fruit itself, and the leaves on top and the leaves on the side, and the edges, with bumpy edges on the side. And as you can see, I draw the shadows with a very rough sort of sketch, and I put a much darker tone around the fruits on the left hand side. As you can see, the bumpiness of it, and at the end of the day, all I'm trying to do is just to capture the essence of the dark, light and dark. Just basically putting in a bit of dark, a bit of light, mid-tones, and getting the shape of the fruit. Trying to leave as much white on the right hand side as much as possible. Darkening the shadow but not having a very sharp edged. So that's pretty much it. And on top, I try to create a much darker background, much like the photo itself. Yeah, so there you go. That's it. Very simple sketch. So this is what I want you to do. Go practice look at values, the world through the lens of values. Go look at the world through the lens of negative shape, and go look and observe shadows. And if you can improve your observation on these 3 areas, your sketches is bound to improve. Those are 3 simple things I want to share with you today. Have a good one, and bye everybody.